Hello and welcome to the Practice Marketing Podcast, highlighting successful strategies from North America's fastest growing clinics and experts so you can learn from their wins and power your practice growth. Hi, I'm your host, Neil Trickett, CEO of Practice Promotions, and today we're going to talk about how to grow a mobile PT practice without a brick and mortar clinic. And we've got a real special guest here. I'm talking with Annie Koslow, founder of Active Health Solutions, a 4-therapist mobile PT practice that services Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C., and the Maryland area. And they have a focus on both orthopedic and women's health in the home setting. So I'm really excited to talk to her about this and how she's grown her practice this way. And she's also been with Practice Promotions here since 2024. So we've had the pleasure of helping her and grow her business with her too. So she's here to share her tips with us today. Annie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Neil.
Awesome. So let's learn a little bit more about you and your story and how you got this started and kind of where it's gone today. I'd love to know more about that, and I know our audience would too.
Yeah, sure. So basically, this rewinds back to grad school when I was doing in-home personal training and Pilates sessions. The clients really loved the model of me coming to them. Time is our most valuable asset right now. And I think now more than ever, people are realizing they don't want to spend time in the car or driving somewhere. Convenience is huge. So in grad school in Atlanta, and then when I was doing my residency up in New York, I was doing like in-home training sessions, and then moved to DC after finishing up my orthopedic residency, and was just noticing like in the brick and mortar clinics how kind of like two different types of people were more likely to drop off from physical therapy, especially like as their episodes of care progress. And one very popular in DC is like the attorney who has billable hours. So the time it takes to get to an appointment, like 30 minutes to get there, including like public transportation, parking, sitting in the waiting room, leaving the appointment, it was like about a 2-hour turnaround time for these patients.
Mm-hmm.
And that's time that they weren't able to do their billable hours, or they were pushing all of that work later in the evening. So it was just really tough for those patients to get in 1, 2, 3 times a week. So we are seeing some attrition there in the brick and mortar clinic. And then the other patient demographic who was like really struggling with the model was also new parents. So new baby at home. So that's where it pulls in the women's health side of it as well, the pelvic health. New baby at home, having to get childcare to go into the clinic to take care of yourself when that's the most important thing that you need at that point. So that those two populations just weren't getting the complete episode of care that they needed. So I just started toying around with like, well, what if I kind of blend what I did in the past with personal training and Pilates, and why doesn't this exist for physical therapy? So for physical therapy, we have home health, which is more if the patient cannot leave their home, like if they don't have the physical means to do that. This is a little bit more of like orthopedic, so kind of like what you would treat in the outpatient setting, but just in the home. So maximizing convenience there. So I started this practice in 2018, just kind of like as a side hustle, like, 6 a.m. appointments, 8 p.m. appointments outside of my full-time job. And I did disclose it to my employer at the time. And then weekends. And then gradually it just grew and grew, which I think we'll be talking about during this podcast, to the point where I couldn't do both. And I didn't want to. I mean, I was having so much fun with this mobile practice. It just grew organically. And then more recently, since joining with Practice Promotions, like a little bit more of a concerted effort in the growth.
That's really exciting, and kudos to you for taking that initiative and obviously building something that is not that common in our industry, right? You said the example, there is home health, right? And that's usually for people that do have a lot of difficulty getting out of the home. They tend to be more elderly, or, like a post-hip or something like that, right? I'm kind of curious, in this model that you have, is it insurance-based? Is it cash? Is it a mix of both? Like, what do you typically see there?
Yeah, so we are completely out of network with insurance. So what we do, it's called fee for service. So we bill, so our appointments are about an hour. We do have the flexibility to go over because we're not seeing multiple patients at one time, and we don't have another patient like in the waiting room. So about an hour per appointment, and then each appointment is a blanket fee. and then they pay that to us directly after each appointment, and then we provide them with a super bill afterwards. So they can submit that to insurance. And the reimbursement rate we've seen all over the place from nothing to everything. So it depends on the insurance plan, but patients are able to use their out-of-network benefits to see us.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's a great option. I mean, I really admire that model because I'm a big believer, no matter if you have a brick and mortar place or if you're doing mobile PT or home health, that you need to know your value and your treatment, right, for a patient. And it has a certain, we should know what our certain cost is per hour, and then we should know what profitability we should have over that. So it gives us like the right framework of how much we should earn within that hour treating that patient. And we dictate that, not what the insurance company would pay, right? And so we're going direct to the consumer, which you are, which is fantastic. So you have that personal relationship with the consumer. They're willing to pay for that service. You're delivering a great service. And then they do have the option to get some reimbursement for that from their insurance company. I think that's a beautiful model.
Yeah, and patients seem to like the transparency as well. Like even when I was in a hospital system working, patients would see us and they were in network with insurance and they would get the evaluation bill and it was $400. And they're like, "You're in network with my insurance," but it's because the deductible wasn't met. So like there are still high costs associated with in-network, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize, that they might actually pay more for in-network depending on their deductible and what kind of clinic they're going to.
Yeah. So I think you show there that there is opportunity, again, looking for those publics, those audiences that want that kind of service, right? Who are willing to pay for that kind of service. And so I think that was very smart that you looked at, hey, there was attorneys that were coming in here and or people that, or other professionals that time is very important to them, right? And so you can fulfill that need of saving them time and convenience, right? People are willing to pay for those two things, time and convenience, right? We do that all the time. But we often don't think about that with PT, especially in our brick and mortar, because we're accommodating ourselves, right? We're trying to keep the schedule full. We're trying to maximize the therapist's hours, get as many people in as possible during the day, so that the efficiency is there, right? So I'm kind of curious. You've grown the practice, and now I think it's you start out with you, and now you're at 4 of you. Is that right?
Yeah, and probably onboarding two more within the next
Wow, that's
month.
exciting.
So yeah,
Exciting.
so
Yeah,
yeah, it's been.
awesome. And so, what has that evolution looked like? Like, obviously, it's different when you handle everything yourself to when you start to have people that are working for you.
Yeah, that has been, I mean, overall a very great experience. I was kind of forced into it by having children and needing coverage, which was great. I thank my babies for that because I needed help. I wasn't going to be seeing people right after having a baby. So that's been really nice to have a team, and it's kind of like developed into this whole separate mission for our clinic is providing a positive workplace for people to work. And a lot of that goes back to our payment model. We can pay patient or pay therapists more
Mhm.
because we know our costs coming in. It's a very easy calculation. How many visits we see, that's how much we know how much revenue we're getting. Um, and there's not like the mystery of insurance companies, so we can pay higher. We have flexibility. So in general, it's been like a really great supportive place for our therapists. And each of them have actually started part-time, like a little bit, like, okay, I'll, do a little bit on the weekends or evenings, and have grown to full-time.
Mm.
Just because they've bought in. I mean, they can see 12 or 15 patients a week and make more than what they're making seeing 50 a week. So that helps, and that's been really fun to kind of like support them and to watch their overall burnout just
Mhm.
decrease, and then their motivation increases. So it's been like growing the team has been extremely fulfilling.
That's awesome. And it's what therapists want, right? We want to just be able to treat patients well, not be the not feel that kind of crush of time burden on us, right? That sometimes you can get in a busy clinic. So I'm not getting into numbers or specifics that way, but just kind of curious in terms of your payment model to those kind of therapists. Is it like an hourly, or do they get like a salary plus a bonus salary? Just kind of curious how you structured that in that situation.
Yeah, it's a good question. So, they all get a majority of what they bring in.
Mhm.
So they get a percentage of how many visits they see. So, um,
Pretty easy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's easy math. It's also motivating for them
Mhm.
because if they want to keep it part-time, that's fine. There's no pressure from us to like we track productivity in the sense of like they tell us how many patients they want to see a week, and we work to meet that. So it's more of like it takes kind of like the negative association away from productivity. I know that's can be like a very triggering word for a lot of us PTs, but it allows them to set the goal, and then like we as a front desk team, and then with Kayla at Practice Promotions, we work to help them meet that goal by bringing in the patients.
Love that. Yeah, and I'm a firm believer in pay for performance, and I think we've gotten better in our industry at doing that across the board, but there's still I still think that there's a very if there is pay for performance, it might be a bit lower in terms of the actual payout for bonuses compared to like the salary. And when you get a good mix of base salary and then a decent enough incentive, then people want to work for those
Mhm.
time. They feel in control of their income, which they should be. And I like again, in your model, it's really nice in that it's all there. So, work as much as you want or as little as you want, right? And it's really up to you in terms of how much you want to make and service. And then you don't necessarily get the blowback either from the therapists in terms of the pressure of, hey, we've got some extra patients here. Would you mind picking them up, right?
Totally.
And so I'm curious, in this model for you, has there been different challenges that you've had to face in mobile versus being, say, a brick and mortar?
Snow days are tough.
We were just talking about that, yes.
Different challenges. I mean, I think it's I think less of a sell on the mobile part and more just on probably the insurance model. With being out of network with insurance, most patients on the phone understand that because we're coming to them and there's that drive time and we don't charge extra for the drive time, like it's still like the appointment and they can submit that all to insurance. They've been mostly understanding of that.
Mhm.
But I would say if anything, it's actually just like in terms of growing the team, probably hardest that we're not in the same space all at the same time. Like in terms of like that workplace culture and the
Mhm.
camaraderie, we still do events where we get together and in services and everything, but it's not like, hey, what's that technique you're doing there that you learned at your CONAD course last week? So there's less of that and less of that direct mentoring.
Mhm.
So we usually don't hire new grads. We've never hired a new grad because of that mentoring piece.
Mhm.
So I would say that's probably like the biggest drawback with the
Yeah.
mobile clinic is not having that like face-to-face time with your colleagues.
Yeah, that is a trade-off, and that's a great point that you put there. Is that those type of positions are not necessarily for everybody, right? And
Mhm.
so we know that coming out of school, new grad, you need a lot of mentoring, you need a lot of observation in the clinic, a lot of clinical experience in order to develop yourself as a clinician, right? And we see that here too at Practice Partners because we're virtual, right? And so all of our team interacts with each other all day long, but they're virtual when they do it. And we do have some in-persons and get-togethers and things like that. But we have noticed that when we have new grads, they struggle more than someone who has experience because they're not used to the discipline that it takes to be on your own, and and
Mhm.
and with your scheduling, with your organization, with just keeping your confidence in the treatments, right? Things like that. I could see that how that would be important to have someone who has some experience coming into this particular role. So thanks for sharing that challenge with us. That makes a lot of sense. Just kind of expanding a little bit more here on your service lines and your programs that you have. And so I think what you've done really well is you identified certain publics, right? Certain niches that work really well for you, right? And going after that and has helped you expand. One of those being pelvic health, women's health. Just can you speak to that a little bit more in terms of kind of like how you developed those programs and grown that within your practice?
Yeah, so it kind of was by force, because we hire based on the person and not based on the specialty.
Hmm.
So my paths crossed with Marina, who's our pelvic floor specialist, and it was more like she felt like a good fit. So then after meeting her and getting to know like her how wonderful she is with patients and motivated she is, we said like, okay, let's add pelvic health. So it was a little bit backwards in that way. And then it's been interesting over time to see kind of how prospective patients um, respond best to different marketing strategies. So, like for pelvic health, for example, it seems that the most beneficial marketing events for her have been like small informational sessions paired with
Mhm.
yoga, like a little mini yoga class or mini Pilates class. So that's been like the best sort of new patient revenue stream for pelvic floor versus like Devin, who's our golf specialist. He's very much orthopedic and sports medicine. He's done well with like golf injury prevention, swings at country clubs, like kind of like more broad community events. Like he's
Mhm.
posted up at some golf shops in Virginia and done like, we have force plates, so he'll like do assessments there with weight distribution and look at swing assessment. So it's been fun to be like to kind of do it backwards, like say to the therapist, what do you want to do? What makes you
Mhm.
happy? Okay, how do we put that in play to get you those patients? Um, and it's also been interesting over time, like just talking about like different niche markets and everything, because we've had, like I think this is because of our online presence with practice promotions, but we have been getting more and more calls about in-office ergonomic assessments. And
Okay.
we actually have, which is something that we do, and we had surgeons reach out recently. And we're going to be in 2 weeks going to the OR at a hospital in the area and looking at
That's
the
awesome.
ergonomics while like these surgeons are wearing lead. So it's really cool, like to develop these new programs. That's totally within our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But it's fun to see these kind of like not direct patient care opportunities presenting themselves.
That's really fascinating. And it's interesting too, right? As your business grows, the different opportunities that come your way.
Hmm.
And some of those are great opportunities, like, and sometimes it also can distract you a little bit, right? And so you have to be careful not
Hmm.
to take certain opportunities, but look at other opportunities that came your way. I think that's really fascinating in terms of the ergonomics. I've been in the OR with docs, and I can tell you they have horrible posture when they're working on patients.
Especially orthopedists, like they're moving those hips, and those are heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, I always remember I had a patient too when I was in the hospital, working in the hospital, and he came in one day and he's just like, my back is killing. He was a proctologist, right? So he's like, I'm
Oh,
in the weirdest positions you can possibly imagine doing surgery, and he's like, his back was just a mess, right? So, but yes, so ergonomic assessments for doctors, can you imagine, right? That's a great field.
yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
The top 10% of PT owners aren't just surviving, they're thriving. But what's their secret? Well, Neil Trickett's new Market to Grow book reveals how the top 10% of PT practices leverage marketing systems to simultaneously grow their new patients, attract top talent, and boost profit in their practice. You can learn from their secrets. Visit practicepromotions.net/book to claim your free copy of Market to Grow. Yes, you heard that right. We are shipping a free copy of Market to Grow to all podcast listeners who want it. Just visit practicepromotions.net/book to claim your free book. And now back to the show.
I got a question for you here because I know that different clinics run women's health programs. Just curious, in as a selling point, is it any different to the patient being in their own home? Is it like something that they feel more comfortable being open with or secure versus going to a physical location that they don't really know? Just kind of curious what your perceptions are on that.
Yeah, we've definitely gotten that feedback because I think pelvic health, like among the PT community, is very well known and talked about and appreciated and supported. But in the general public, it can still be a very new and scary experience for people.
Hmm.
So I have a lot. I personally don't do internal pelvic floor. I'm mainly orthopedics, but I can recognize when someone does need to see our pelvic floor team. And it's a much easier sell being like, hey, they'll come to you and you can choose like a room in your house. You're not going to a clinic where they're like, you have no idea what to expect.
Hmm.
So I think that population really appreciates like the intimate experience, and it's like we're going into their home, so there's already a strong level of trust there. Both, and it goes both ways, right? Like our therapists are going into a stranger's home,
Mhm.
which can feel scary. So it's a mutual trust that has to be developed from both parties in order to do that. And it seems like the pelvic health community has really appreciated, and especially like going back to kind of like the why I started this practice, like the postpartum population. It's been great for them to have like the baby home, not have to get childcare. Like a lot of times they can like nurse during the sessions. They don't have to worry about like traveling to and from a clinic and then having to pump or whatever. So I think that extra level of comfort has been very beneficial for the patient.
Yeah, I love that. I think there's such a tremendous opportunity there for our profession to service that market, right? And like you said, I remember in our clinic treating postpartum and helping moms, and it's just a challenge, right? It's a challenge to have coverage for the baby, or you got to bring the baby with you, and you got all these things with you, and I'm a dad of 3, so I know how that goes. Like trying to take everything everywhere, and you're trying to do that, and maybe you're starting to work again, and like all these things to juggle, right? As a new mom. So, I think there's a big opportunity here for clinics to offer something like this where they could be, hey, we'll have a therapist that comes out to you, and you can have a select therapist or even a group of therapists in your clinic that do come out to the house, right, to provide this program to you, right? Mm-hmm. So if you were, again, what I'm a big proponent of for clinics is going hybrid, right? So don't change what you're doing with your traditional insurance model, but where can you improve or add on new programs or new service lines that go beyond traditional insurance, right? And so I think, this is one of those programs that could easily fit in that model. And if you were advising a brick and mortar practice that wanted to add on these things, what would be some of the things that you would guide them in starting up like a little bit of a mobile type add-on to their practice for these kind of things?
Yeah, I mean, I would just think to like start small. Kind of like start small, try it, and then just keep iterating and making it better in terms of like, oh, I should have brought these other supplies with me. Next time I will. It's honestly, I think I didn't have the pressure early on to make it grow fast. So that definitely helped because for me, it was like a side hustle that I grew. So I think having that approach can make it feel less scary, is having a little bit of security. If they already have a brick and mortar clinic that's generating profit, great, there you go. But I think like don't expect too much too soon. And it is like it's steady growth, but it's slow because it's not, for the people who call and they're like, do you take Blue Cross Blue Shield? It's a whole different conversation that front desk is having.
Right.
So in terms of like expectations, setting those so they're not, too ambitious so that you're disappointed, but also it's a different kind of like, I don't want to say sales, but it is like a sales process with that
Yeah.
first phone call. So like retraining the front desk or whoever is explaining it to a point that like really drives home the message that you're trying to put forth.
Is that something that, looking back on your career, kind of when you first got started in this, is that something that you feel that you developed a skill in and got better at over time, was the sales component of what you do?
Totally. Yeah, and also it's not hard. It's just like let the patient talk, right? It's like the that's what it comes down to. It's just like just stop talking. Just no more. Let the
Yes.
patient talk. Tell them what they need.
Yeah.
Let them tell you what they need. Um, 'Cause
Great
they have
advice.
patients
Absolutely.
want to be heard. Like it's
Totally. Yeah.
not rocket science. And then you can also check. Like I think that's also something that I've developed over time because we have a front desk team now, but I was, fielding all those calls initially, is learning like we aren't right for everyone, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But sometimes patients really do need to go somewhere where they're in-network with insurance, and some patients are like, I don't want you in my house, that's weird, and that's okay. But being able to say like, okay, I understand we're not for you. And then also, I mean, like at the end of the day, we want to help people, right? Like I know
Mhm.
you had a practice, like we just want to help people. So, and we tell people that, like, okay, you're not interested in our services, that's totally fine. Let us help you find somewhere that will get you better because ultimately that's the most important thing. So we
Mhm.
do have a list of clinics that are in different areas that we recommend patients go to if we're not a good fit for them, or if it's a case that we don't feel comfortable with. Like I had a patient reach out recently with runner's dystonia, and I was like, sorry, like we're just not, we don't have experience in that.
Mhm.
And she was like, well, I appreciate you telling me that. I still want to book with you, even though you don't have experience, because I appreciate you telling me what you don't know. And we're like, okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. We'll learn. But like, so just being transparent with patients and letting them talk, I think is the most helpful thing there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you make referrals to other PT clinics. Like,
Mhm.
how awesome is that to be in that position? And uh, I think especially in this role, right? And again, as we evolve as an industry, as a practice, to help the public more, and we know that the current healthcare system cannot sustain and support what we need to be able to do in our practices. So we have to go more direct to the consumer, right? And I always challenge practice owners to think, what would happen if tomorrow there was no insurance or insurance stopped paying for PT? Like, how would you survive? Right. And if we look at our clinicians, a lot of times they're not very strong in sales skills, right?
Mhm.
You can tell the ones who are good because they're great at getting patients to come in for their plan of care, right?
Mhm.
But the ones that have a lot of drop off, things like that, they're just there to treat, but they don't see how they're getting people to come in and get treated and participate and want to pay for the services. It's like part of their job, right? It's part of the ability of a physical therapist to, get someone fully better, right? Is be able to sell them on the outcome, right? So I think that that's a skill that we need to focus on as an industry is the sales skills that are needed in patient care, right? And then also in this new world of more direct to consumer marketing. Speaking of which I'm kind of curious on your side, is you've kind of grown, and then we started to work together in 2024. So I was curious, like, what made you at that point decide, like, hey, I need some help here with marketing?
Yeah, so pretty much until that point, so I had a website that a good friend helped me make on Squarespace. It was lovely. It was $30 a month. It so it was great for when I was in kind of like that side hustle, organic growth type of mindset. Like I will let it grow. I am going to do more internal marketing, meaning like being just like an awesome physical therapist and let patients do the marketing for me. Once I started to grow the team more, though, that's where I needed the outside help. So the word of mouth was great, but it was also sending patients just to me
Mm-hmm.
versus like one of my team members who are all awesome. But if someone refers their best friend to one therapist, the best friend wants to see that therapist. So that's where I felt like I needed the outside help, and I just wanted to support the team more. So as our team was growing both in terms of adding more people, but our therapists wanted to go from part-time to full-time. So I wanted to help them get there faster. So that's what encouraged me. So I actually started, I spent a lot of time, too much time learning about SEO and keywords and I have to say I don't like it. I'm so I don't like it. It just like was not hitting home, and I think I did just like a junky job on Squarespace. So at that point, I was in a peer group through the APTA, and one of my colleagues in the group was like, "All right, Annie, this is what you need. Like, stop wasting your time trying to DIY SEO because you're not doing a great job, and like it's time to get the big guns involved." So that's when I kind of like, shopped around as one should, met with other companies, and then obviously decided to go with you all.
Yeah, we're very fortunate that you did. We're excited to be part of your journey.
Mhm.
And I think that's a great point. Like we also have to start somewhere, right? And we're bootstrapping ourselves, we're getting all up and rolling, right? And Squarespace, Wix, those type of websites are great. They're meant for small businesses.
Mhm.
And they have a certain capability, capacity, right, that you can get to. But once your business really needs that, extra level of influx of new patients, things like
Mhm.
transparency, SEO, PPC, like those kind of things, you need WordPress, right? That's kind of like the next level. It's like kind of the industry standard for websites, and much more complicated because it allows you to do a lot more from an SEO perspective, right? And we have to realize too, like why do patients come to us for help and pay for help from us? They could go do exercises at the gym, right? Or look up YouTube and do some exercises at home. But we know that they want to pay and go see a professional to fix their pain, right? And get them back into what they like to do. It's the same thing for us as business owners, right? Like one thing I've really learned along the way is growing different businesses is that the bigger your business becomes, the more you outsource help and professional help and advisors and all these kind of things because you can't know it all yourself. And I think that's great that you saw that, you chatted with your friends. It's like, okay, I need to know a little bit about SEO, like what do I need to be looking for or understanding, but I don't need to be doing this myself. I need to run my practice, treat my patients, all that good stuff. Right? So kind of curious for you and your growth as we've been working together, what kind of results have you seen from working with practice promotions and your
Mhm.
online business?
Yeah, so kind of as expected, which you all warned me about even before we signed our contract, it took a steady 6 months to see that we were making profit for within the month.
Mhm.
So it took, yeah, about 6 months since that point. So I was looking back to prepare for our talk. So we've seen about 25% growth overall.
Great.
Great. So since that 6 month period, it took us 9 months to basically like pay off the website.
Mhm.
And then we've just seen like basically about 25% of our patient visits come from the website.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
love
it's
that.
wonderful.
Yeah, and the caveat here, which a lot of practice owners may not understand, is that from a Google perspective, when you have Google likes local businesses, right? So when you have a brick and mortar place, it's much easier to get ramped up. But when you are a service area based business, like mobile PT, for example, or home health, or for other industries like plumbing, HVAC, these type of broad area counties, regions that they're servicing, it's more competitive and it's harder because Google likes the local. So it takes longer to ramp up in terms of your SEO rankings when you are a mobile-based business compared to if you actually had, physical locations. So, yeah, I'm glad that we talked about that. Obviously, that there's some ramp up period here, understanding that, but then sticking with it, then starting to see the traction start to happen. And that's usually marketing and business in general, right? There's nothing ever that's linear. It's always sort of this exponential growth after a little bit of a starting point. And so, how many clinicians are you up to now? You said I think it's about four, and you're adding two more on. Is that correct?
Yep, so we're currently in the hiring process. We're in the final stages with two. So they're just kind of like shadowing the team, doing our, crossing our T's, dotting our I's with them. So
Hmm.
bring down two more. We started the market to hire a few months ago, I think maybe in November.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so that helped us bring in one of the candidates,
Oh,
and the other one
fantastic.
was actually referred from a patient.
Love
So
it.
patient, yeah. So yeah, so they'll be joining us again. We weren't looking for a pelvic floor therapist, but one of them is, and she seems like a good fit. So it's more important like the person that we're hiring rather than the specialty.
Yeah, I love that. That's very exciting. Great to hear that also kind of through the website part that that person found you, came in. For our listeners out there, we have a program called Market to Hire, and it's actually using a recruitment center within your website. And by doing that and flowing people, say, from Indeed ads or other things that you may have, you have this more of an opportunity to control the experience with you versus being off on another platform like Indeed. They can really come to your website. You can show them what it's like to work there, have a lot of pictures, even video, visuals. It creates a much more faster connection with someone who might be looking for a new opportunity out there. And then by having different job posts within that recruiting center, you can also get shown in Google for jobs. So that's free advertising for you by doing that way. So I'd love to hear that you got results with that. So I'm curious, Annie, as you're looking here into the future for this year, like what are some of your plans for expansion with Active Health Solutions?
So I think probably more of a broader reach. So we're just going to make it spicier for your team.
Bring it on.
So yes, I think just like farther out, we're tracking when patients come in and they're not within our radius. So I think we might be going farther west in Virginia. So
Oh, nice.
we'll have to
Like
let
Front
people.
Royal, that far out, or
Sorry, where did you say?
like Leesburg, or
Yeah,
even
yeah,
further?
maybe Leesburg.
Hmm.
At least like kind of like Sterling, Aldi. So
Yeah, great
yeah.
areas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there, and then we kind of have a gap in like Maryland, like Peachy County. So I'd love to hire someone for that region as well.
Hmm. Very
Uh,
exciting.
yeah.
I love the innovation. I love the forward thinking there.
Mhm.
Congratulations on all your success there. It's really, to me, just a wonderful story, inspirational story for other practice owners, just to kind of see like, hey, there is all these different ways that we can be successful in physical therapy and helping patients, helping our community, and having a strong business moving forward. Just kind of curious, any final words of advice for our audience out there in terms of if they decided to open up a mobile practice?
Yeah. Obviously, I'm biased, but I just encourage it. It's like insurance reimbursement is just, it's, if you look at it compared to inflation, it's going down. People are getting
Hmm.
paid less for the work that they're providing, and it just doesn't seem sustainable. And I see some colleagues who are in network with insurance and have brick and mortars and like just barely breaking even, and they are working their butts off. So I agree with you that at least like a hybrid model, like I would so strongly encourage people to look into it. And there are enough patients, like the patients are there. It's not a, PTs don't have to compete with each other.
Hmm.
It's just that we need to like get insurance companies to pay us for what we're worth. Like this is a big soapbox of mine that we're all doctorates now. Like the new grads are all doctorates. And, I came out making 60,000 a year and I had six figures in student debt. And it's like, how is that sustainable for a doctorate profession? Um, just with our expertise, like we're medical doctors. Or sorry, we have our doctorates. But yeah, so I just encourage people to try it and dig into it. So I'm glad you're like getting the word out there about it because it is like it provides so many great opportunities for our team and flexibility and autonomy that yeah, I'm a big believer in this business model.
Yeah, and you're proving it, right? Fantastic. I love it. Annie, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today, and congratulations on your success. It's lovely to see how well you've done in this particular model and being very innovative with it. So congratulations on that. To our audience out there, thank you so much for following us on the Practice Marketing Podcast. Don't forget to hit that follow and subscribe button. Check out our YouTube channel where these reside also. And then don't forget to check out practicepromotions.net. We've got tons of free downloads and advice for you in improving the marketing for your practice. So this is Neil from the Practice Marketing Podcast, wishing you much success in your practice.
A free way for you to support our show is by leaving a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It's a chance for you to tell us what you love about the show, and it helps others discover it as well. Just scroll down to ratings and review on your phone and click write a review. Thanks.